just started.
You just started? Okay. You guys ready? You got your notes?
5.
No, I don't need to count down.
10.
No.
3.
You good?
7.
Yeah. You good? What's going on, amateur hour sports fans? It's your boy Bulldog B. Triple C in the house. Sweet Robbery. We got Big Daddy D.
There it is.
Today we are going to talk a very sensitive subject for some of us, especially myself. I'm a huge MLB fan. We're going to talk about the fact that the Baseball Writers Association of America decided not to elect anybody to the Hall of Fame. And we're also going to talk whether or not we should have a universal DH, which is going to stem off of our conversation that we had in one of our last episodes that we didn't really get to finish, and we're going to finish that today. We're going to start it off with the Hall of Fame conversation. So for those of you who don't know, for the first time in 4 or 5 years, the Baseball Writers Association of America, who is responsible for voting players into the Hall of Fame for Major League Baseball, did not select anybody. And by that, I mean a player has to receive 75% of the votes in order to be eligible for the Hall of Fame. And nobody was selected this year. The closest one was Curt Schilling at 71.1% in his ninth year. 2 other players in their ninth year, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, both 61.8 and 61.6%. What are your thoughts? You said
Barry Bonds is not a Hall of Famer.
Okay. Why?
No, I'm saying he I can't believe it.
Oh, yeah.
He should be.
Okay. All right.
I don't even know why we're talking about it, quite honestly.
All right. Sweet Rob, what you got, man?
So everything baseball related comes from my grandfather, right? That's where my baseball ideals come from. I remember watching games with him in the middle of the summer, every night, 7 o'clock, first pitch. And he's what you would call a purist, right?
Okay.
In all aspects of it. So I generally do not believe, and I myself am back and forth on this.
Okay.
My initial thought every time is people who cheated, and let's call it what it is, they cheated, do not belong in the Hall of Fame. However, then you get into the argument, they were still great players even if they didn't cheat, or when did they cheat, if it was proven, and it's such a rabbit hole conversation. So for the likes of Barry Bonds,
what are we considering cheating?
Nope.
Taking performance enhancement.
Okay.
Okay.
So you think that they're the only ones that do that?
Well,
We're gonna get to that. Before he went any further, I just wanted to ask, what are we considering cheating?
Okay.
That's it.
I mean, wearing a buzzer, in the World Series.
Oh, shout out Jose Altuve.
That's technology. That's now though. I can agree with that.
Okay. So I taking drugs, performance enhancing drugs.
Okay.
That's.
Can I ask you a question? Right.
Go ahead.
Are you a wrestling fan? WWE? I'm just asking, yes or no?
I was a WWF fan, yes.
You are. Do you think those guys were out there all natural?
There's a difference.
That's a completely different.
There's a difference between
Hold
sports.
on. That's entertainment.
Just
There's a difference between sports and sports entertainment.
You don't even have to go WWE, but go ahead.
You don't have to. But I just want to, because as many conversations as I had about this whole performance enhancement thing, about no matter how much you take, you still have to have hand-and-eye coordination. You're a baseball player, man. Mm-hmm. You just cannot, just because I take steroids, that doesn't mean I'm going to hit the ball every time. That doesn't mean that.
Wait, you mean I can't take 300 cc's a test every week and wear a Barry Bonds jersey and go hit 700 plus?
That doesn't guarantee
what?
You. No, that does not guarantee you that.
Whoa.
That doesn't guarantee you. What I'm saying is, if I could sit here and watch a WWE wrestler, right, knowing this dude isn't just getting jacked up like that because he's going to work out 7 days a week for 4 hours a day, not happening. Not happening. He's not jacked up just working.
But what part of WWE is real?
None.
Exactly. And we're talking about real sports. You're not even comparing apples to oranges. You're comparing apples to fucking lemons.
To you, it may not be a real sport.
Okay,
right?
I think the majority. And I'm a WWE fan. I am a WWE fan.
You're a
It's
realist.
not a real sport.
But at
You're-
the same
I'm
time,
not saying
I don't
it's
think
real.
it's a real sport.
I'm not saying this. I'm a
Like I said,
WWE
that's
fan.
But
not
we don't-
apples to oranges. That's
But we don't
apples to
have
lemons.
We don't have to go there. There's tons of NFL players playing right now. There's tons of NBA players playing right now. There are so many people there taking performance-enhancing drugs.
So, as I was stating in my intro to this topic before interrupted on
Get
some
it.
WWE
Oh
banter,
man, get it.
I
Shawn Michaels. Let's go.
I am Sweet Chin Music. I am slowly going the other way on it, and it's because at the end of the day, you really don't know who did what.
You don't.
To its entirety, there's a huge unknown, and there is they were great players regardless, with or without. It's just, to me, it's a shame that you have this era of baseball.
So let me.
That you don't know what would have happened if
Let me-
you know.
Let me caveat on that, man. I think I thought I was in the minority, to be perfectly honest with you, with the whole steroids thing. I think steroids made baseball exciting. I really
love
did.
steroids.
I think it was a
Nobody
big.
wants to see a 2-to-1 pitcher's duel. I'm really in that mind frame. But at the
I
same
just
time,
don't see it happening. I
but-
don't see how it works.
but at the same time,
You
let's
know, like-
let's think about no. So it does make you stronger. It does make you faster, which means some of those ground balls that you hit, they're going to squeak through the infield. You're going to be faster. You're going to get to those play. You're going to get to the base faster. You're going to get your arms stronger.
How many ground balls did Barry Bonds go after
How many?
in an infield?
how many fly balls? How many fly balls?
I mean, he
did
played
he
right
hit?
field.
Run down.
If no. I'm not talking about him playing the outfield. First of all, he played left field. So
How long
And
ago
he
Barry
played center
field? How long?
field.
How long ago
however,
that was?
Hang on a second.
Let's talk about the Pittsburgh
No,
Pirates.
But he retired with the Giants. Did you see him?
He wasn't in
between?
the left field, right field, with the Giants.
He absolutely was.
Right, he was in the left field.
Yes. Okay. So
Go ahead, make
let's,
your point. I'm gonna look
let's
this
talk
up
about
real
this.
quick.
Okay. I think that we need to talk about this. Bonds and Clemens were never proven to use PEDs. Do me personally, in my heart of hearts, do I think that they did? Absolutely, 100%. But can I prove it? No. So my point is, what makes the Baseball Writers Association of America the judge and jury on this? And they say, well, according to this player or that player, which is all hearsay and rumors,
Yeah.
we think that they did, so we're going to keep them out.
Right.
Who are they? Who are they?
When they don't realize how many people still playing right now are using them.
So, and honestly, it's harder to use them now than it was back then. There's probably technology to mask it, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it is what it is. So, they were never proven. They never tested positive. They never admitted to it, whereas Sammy Sosa tested positive. Mark McGwire admitted to it. Rafael Palmeiro tested positive. You know what I'm saying? Like all these other guys, Gary Sheffield tested positive. Manny Ramirez tested positive. You know what I mean? Like, so they never did. Now, Clemens did go to trial on perjury charges that stemmed from his 2008 testimony to Congress regarding PEDs, and they brought him up on charges, but he was also found not guilty by a jury.
Yeah.
Okay?
Let me guess.
Wow.
He went to court because he had a little blood on one of his ankles. You know, during the World
No,
Series.
that was
That's
Schilling.
Kurt
Oh,
Schilling.
That's
Kurt Schilling. Oh,
yeah.
my bad.
No, Clemens, when they had the 2008 steroids testimony in front of Congress, where him, Rafael Palmeiro, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, famous line, "I'm not here to talk about the past." Well, the reason you didn't talk about the past because you knew you took steroids because you admitted to it. But Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens never admitted to it. They never tested positive. Do I know for a fact, without a certainty, 100% that they took them? No, I do not. Does my heart tell me 99.9%? Yeah,
They took
probably. But at the same time, I'm not a judge and jury. And if they didn't test positive, as far as I'm concerned, you can't prove it. They didn't do it. I like the law of the land better than the law of public opinion, if you will.
Right.
Public opinion doesn't mean shit. They didn't test positive. Boom, there it is. So let's talk about Schilling, though. The guy never was suspected of PED use. Okay? He's got 216 wins, which is 86th all time in Major League Baseball. Do you know how many pitchers there are in Major League Baseball all time? Thousands.
A lot.
Thousands.
A lot.
He's 15th all time in strikeouts with over 3,100. He only gave up 711 walks in his 20-year career. It's second best all time, behind a guy, Tommy Bond, who retired in 1884 as far as walks to strikeout ratio. But 711 walks in his 20-year career. That's ridiculous. 11-2 career in a postseason. 3-time World Series champ, 6-time All-Star, finished second in the Cy Young 3 times. The reason this guy didn't get in is because he has made some questionable comments on social media. He's made some questionable comments on the air when he was in ESPN.
Shit, how many athletes does that?
Right.
You know?
But, I mean, at the same time, he's also been at war with the media, and it just so happens, the Baseball Writers Association of America is responsible for voting for the Hall of Fame.
What are the 2 memories for me for Kershaw? I was at the Phillies game when they retired him on Wall of Fame.
Okay.
2, I remember the thing that stands out to me, and I'm sure absolutely stands out to you, being a Red Sox fan, is that game he pitched with the bloody sock. And
Game 6.
That whole beating the Yankees coming back.
Do you remember that? You remember that? 2004 Game 6
No,
in Yankee Stadium?
I don't remember that.
I'm sure you do.
You know I remember that. I just said it, speaking on the wrong guy.
You said it was 04, right?
It was.
I don't know what he's
Game 6, 04.
04.
In Yankee
It's
Stadium.
I don't know what he's talking about.
ALCS. We were down 3-0 and
So
came back
what?
1-4-3.
What were the questionable? I'm not fully informed.
So
what are the questionable comments?
he made some questionable transgender remarks via social media.
Ooh.
He made a comparison to Muslim extremists and Nazis.
Ooh.
He made some questionable comments. I mean, we don't really get into politics here, and I got that. But my point is that your on the field play should not have anything to do with your off the field after your career. That's why you didn't get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I think it's absolute bullshit. And to be honest with you, or to just point out another thing, he requested
to
be removed from this final ballot of eligibility next year.
I just read that. Yeah.
Which the Baseball Writers Association of America is like, no, we don't want him. It's not the rules. He should be there. And it's either one, they know that they're going to elect him and they're just punishing him for 9 straight years and they're going to put him in
there all of a sudden.
Or they're going to stick it to him one more time. But to be honest with you, if it does go to the Eras Committee, which is formerly the Veterans Committee, which meets twice every 5 years for his time frame, because he falls under the Today's Game Committee era, their next vote is December of 2022, and he's fully eligible because he's been retired for more than 15 years at that point, because you got to wait 5 years after your career, and then you got 10 years on the ballot, so that'd be 15 years. The Eras Committee is going to put him in hands down. The guy deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
He does.
Regardless of what your political views are, screw that.
But that's the problem right there. Major leagues.
Here's
politics.
Question I have.
Absolutely agree.
America's sport.
So, obviously, we know baseball's Hall of Fame is much stricter, much harder to get into versus, like, let's say, the NBA's Hall of Fame. NBA,
and the NFL too, man.
The NBA receives criticism for how easy it is to get into the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do is make a playoff.
Here's a question: You think Tracy McGrady's a Hall of Famer?
Yeah,
no.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah,
that was
Absolutely.
probably
I don't think he
Hands
is.
down.
off top.
Hands down.
Absolutely.
I don't think he is.
Hands
So,
down, man.
I
Come on.
think once you
I mean, I think
dissect
he's
his
close.
career,
But I don't think he is.
once you dissect his career, I think he was a great player. I think it was, or I'm sure there's a better example out there that I can't think
Is
of.
John Starks a Hall of Famer?
John Starks. Why would John Starks? John Starks ain't nowhere on Tracy McGrady's level.
I got that. I'm not comparing John Starks
Wait, let
to
me
Tracy
guess. Because
McGrady.
he dunked on Michael Jordan
No.
in a playoff game,
I'm
he should
asking-
be in
How
Hall
many
of Fame.
how many playoff appearances did the Knicks have when Starks and Ewing were there?
A lot.
You
Does-
think John Starks was the reason for that?
He was definitely the compliment to Patrick Ewing.
I don't know about all that. I mean, so what was
Okay.
Anthony Mason? What was Charles Oakley?
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. What was Derek
Shout out.
Harper?
R.I.P.
I mean,
So John
just
Starks
saying.
was not the second best player on that team.
I don't think they had a second best player, to be honest.
So they were all
I think
number
it was-
4, 5, 6,
Well,
7?
every team has to have
Okay.
a second best player.
No, that's not
Okay.
true.
Well-
You got Patrick Ewing, and you name somebody else that was a consistent all-star.
Is Rick Smits a Hall of Famer?
Well, apparently to the committee, he is. I mean,
I'm just saying.
was
Think
he
about
was he the second best player on the Pacers?
So, what you're getting
No.
at is with the strictness, the MLB has been around a hell of a lot longer than the NBA and NFL,
There's some
And they're-
questionable players.
and they only have 200.
I appreciate how he just cut me off.
What is it? 255. Cool. We're talking about baseball, not basketball. If
You
wanna
brought it
talk
up, not me.
No, Schofield brought
No,
up.
actually,
Who brought
he
the John
did.
Stokes
Is
up?
J-
He brought up Tracy McGrady.
Oh,
Just,
My
Yeah,
point is
okay.
that in how many years there's only 225 or 255 something like that players in Major League Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown.
right.
So think about that. There's at least that in the NBA Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but that again, right? That goes back for Major League Baseball. I think they're the one major sport, right, that plays a huge part in politics.
And I agree, and they shouldn't. They absolutely shouldn't.
That's
You see what
why
I'm
it
saying?
is so hard
So here's
for
my
these players to get into the Hall of Fame.
here's my question, and again, I had a conversation the other day with somebody close to me who absolutely did not agree with my stance on Schilling, Bonds and Clemens about the whole steroid thing, blah blah blah. And their only comment about Schilling was he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, but the reason that he's not is because he was an asshole. And I'm like, okay, I got it, I understand that, okay, but at the same time, that's off the field. It's not on the field. If we're going to talk about morals and what the Baseball Writers Association of America, they're talking about being the moral police and the judge and the jury
Yeah.
when it comes to steroid use and views and outspokenness. How many openly racist players made it into the Hall of Fame during the time period when it was unfortunately accepted norm back then? And their argument to me was, well, back then the writers were also racist. I said, I got that. Doesn't make it any better. But my point is that so whatever the views of the writers are, that's what the players need to conform to.
Right.
Like, no, it shouldn't have anything to do with
Anything
what
to
you're
do.
off the field.
Yeah.
Whatever. It should be on
What was the
field.
on the field performance?
What is
like?
your on the field performance? And Kurt Schilling deserves to be in.
I think the whole issue stems from a bigger issue, and that is baseball is dying. I think
I wouldn't say that.
baseball, not
It's-
yet. It's slowly.
It's been for a long time.
And I
yeah.
think having issues like and this is why I'm slightly changing my mind on the whole purist stance, is because it's bad for baseball. I love baseball. I think let me put it this way, I'd rather watch a World Series over a Super Bowl.
Mhm.
I think there's more excitement. I think there's more superstition in the air, it's just crazier things happen, anything. It's
not a
baseball.
one and done.
It's not one and done.
Yeah.
I think the World Series is the best championship out of the 4 major pro sports.
Why do you really feel like
So-
it's dying? I just gotta ask, like, what,
Because the views are going down. They're finding that today's generation's not entertained by 9 hours of 2-to-1 ball.
Bro, back
They're
in
not-
the day, regardless of whether or not your team sucked or not, the stands were still full.
still full? Yeah, still packed. Yeah.
When my brother and I, we would go to when I was stationed down in Virginia, we would drive up to Camden Yards, and we would go to the Red Sox-Orioles series every time they came to Camden Yards. We called it Fenway South because the Orioles sucked back then. And there was more Red Sox fans in the stadium, but there
Yeah.
was, out of like 40,000 capacity, there was like 8,500 people there
Yeah.
because their team was awful. And the only reason there was 8,500 people there is because the majority were Red Sox fans. It really was.
Yeah. I thought he was gonna say, more because pitching isn't dominating the
No,
league.
I
No,
don't think it has to do with
I
that.
think it's like it goes down simple and fundamental as football. You need a football to play as a kid. Go out back, you're playing football. Basketball, you need to walk to the park. You have a basketball. To play baseball, you need every kid to have a glove and realistically catcher's gear and bats and a baseball field to play baseball.
But that's
I agree with the price.
You're a suburb kid,
No, I agree
country
with
kids,
the-
man. Hey, you don't need no catcher's kit. You don't need get a ball, get a bat.
I agree with your comment on equipment. Like, yeah, it's probably more expensive to play. If you want to play at the top levels, it's probably more expensive to play baseball than it is basketball. Maybe not hockey. Depending on what football, if you're buying your own pads, I don't know. Maybe they're expensive nowadays. I know they weren't very much, and we just got them issued to us when I was a kid. But, I mean, I think it has to do with instant gratification.
Yeah.
Football, every time the ball is snapped, there's a play.
Yeah.
Basketball, every time the ball's inbounded, there's a play. Hockey, every time the puck's dropped, there's play. Every time you throw a baseball, there's not always a play. It can be a ball, it could be a strike, it could be a foul ball. It's a boring game to today's generation where
it's all about excitement.
And honestly, it's those people that don't understand how hard the game is. It's the only game or only professional sport or only sport period where if you fail 7 out of 10 times, you are considered a fucking all-star. You only have to succeed 3 out of 10 times at the plate, and you are an all-star. Think about that.
Yeah.
What other game promotes failure as much as baseball? But it really is.
That's
that
because,
way.
like you said, it's so hard. It is. Imagine going to stand.
Physics tells you that a round object, being the bat, should not be able to hit another round object coming at you 95 miles an hour, and you should not be able to hit the ball straight. Like,
especially not 325 yards.
Yeah.
Over
feet. Yeah.
Feet.
the course of the last 8 years, attendance has dropped every year. In 2007, annual attendance was 79 million. 2019, before the COVID, it was 68 million. So over the course of 11 years, 12 years, it dropped
significantly.
Now,
is that because tickets are getting more expensive, or
do
you think it's the draw? It's a boring game.
I think there's so much to go into it. I think you have the Hall of Fame, right? I think this is a small part in it. I think ticket prices are outrageous. I think, like you said, instant gratification takes over. I think it's easier to play other sports, and when you play other sports, you're interested in other sports. Yeah. And I think baseball has the hardest time letting stars be stars, which is full circle.
I also agree with that.
The steroid era, if it did one thing at all, it brought stardom to individual players.
I also agree with that. Yeah. And that's why I like, what do they do at Players Weekend, where they wear whatever their nicknames are on their jerseys. Yeah. They can wear whatever the hell cleats they want to, because if they do that shit during the regular season, if I want to pay tribute to somebody who died and I want to put their face on my cleats or whatever, obviously I'm a professional baseball player, I can afford to do that. First of all, I can get custom cleats. But if I do that, I'm going to get fined. And like I don't understand that. All right, so bring it back to the Hall of Fame. Do you have anything? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I just think there's too much politics, man, involved
in
the whole Major League Baseball. But it all comes back from
I absolutely agree.
America's sport.
So getting
America's sport.
Getting away from the politics and getting away from Bonds, Clemens, Schilling, I want to talk about somebody who I cannot believe he has not been voted in yet, let alone only had 32% of the vote in his 8th year, and that's Jeff Kent. The second baseman for the Giants, or ended eventually with the Giants, but he played,
with Dodgers for most of his career, right?
He had a couple years.
Padres,
Pirates, I think. But I mean, this is 8th year of eligibility. He's only at 32.4%.
Yeah, he ain't gonna make it.
No, he's not. He's not at this rate. No, he's got 5 All-Star nods. He won the NL MVP in 2000. If you look at the 20 second baseman currently in the Hall of Fame with actual recordable stats, there's 21 second basemen in the Hall of Fame. One doesn't have any stats because it's Frank Grant, who played in the Negro Leagues, and they didn't have stats. They didn't keep stats back then. But if you look at the 20 that actually kept the stats, so we're talking about Robbie Alomar, we're talking about Rod Carew, we're talking about Roger Hornsby. You know what I mean?
Real quick, cut you off.
Go for it.
Let's remember to come back, Kent. Didn't MLB just announce that they're going to be merging the Negro Baseball Hall of Fame?
They did.
And So
Why all of a sudden they get those stats from?
Yeah, right. Who?
How's that possible? Why all of a sudden?
You know what
Again,
happened?
Goes back to politics, man.
You know what happened?
Because of what's happening in America today, it's easy for them to say, "Oh, we got to do." No, man.
They sent Nicolas Cage on an exploration to go find the hidden stats from the Negro Leagues. I'm telling you, it was right next to right next to that thing that he found in the second one or whatever it was.
Jesus,
I
man.
personally think that's a bad move. And I think it takes away from what
I do.
those leagues stood for.
I think that if they want to put a wing into the Hall of Fame for the Negro Leagues,
They should.
They
I
should
agree.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But
I
I
don't
think that the
disagree
Negro
with
Leagues
you.
should also have their own Hall of
think
Fame because that
it
is
was
some
its own
some people
league.
celebrate that
I agree.
more than Major League Baseball. I absolutely agree.
And I think it should be honored
But-
fully. Don't get it wrong what I'm saying.
No,
but
no, we
by
understand.
merging it, you're ultimately just
Just taking away
Take it
from
away
what?
from it.
yes.
I agree.
Yep.
But the
So-
problem is, man, the rest of America isn't really thinking like that. Everybody always has a
Yeah.
negative agenda to something. You know what I'm saying?
Back
It's
to
just-
Ken.
We have talked way more politics on this show than we ever planned on, huh?
That's
All right, let's get
well,
back.
it's
well,
hard to not
It really
involve
is
politics
with
within
this
major leagues.
topic. It really
You know,
is with this
it's-
topic. All right, so out of the 20 Major League Baseball players that are in the Hall of Fame that played second base, here's where Jeff Kent ranks out of those 20. If he was in the Hall of Fame, this is where he would rank. First in home runs, 377. Third in RBIs. He's got 1,518 RBIs. The only ones that beat him are Rogers Hornsby and Nat Logie. 11th in hits. 11th in career batting average at 290. Second in slugging percentage at an even 500, and the only one that beat him, Rogers Hornsby. Probably one of the greatest second basemen,
Of
if
all
not
time.
the greatest second baseman of all time.
So why is he not in the Hall of Fame?
You tell me.
Trying to figure it out.
You tell me.
I looked at the list of people
He's
that were eligible. I
30 he's
saw a
at
lot of good players.
32%, and that's the highest he's been in his 8 years. It's not like he went up to 60 and other players joined the ballot that stole his votes away, and they like.
Yeah,
Where did his votes
he
go?
stayed
Is
there.
Andy Pettit a Hall of Famer, do you?
Regular season, no, but his playoff season or his playoff record, absolutely. But I don't. I think he was one of the supporting cast for those Yankees teams. Dude, honestly, you could argue that the entire '90s Yankees roster should probably be in the Hall of Fame
Hall
at
of
one
Fame.
point.
What about Johnny Damon?
No, absolutely not.
What about
Miguel
Shan
Teca-
Victorino?
Who?
Shan Victorino.
Flying Hawaiian?
No.
Unfortunately, no.
No.
What about
Fan favorite, by the way.
I
Fan
love him.
favorite.
What about
They
Tejada?
loved him in Philly. We loved him
I
in
know.
Boston.
I thought he was a good player.
Miguel
too.
Tejada?
Yeah.
No. They don't have the numbers.
Jorge Posada?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yorgie's definitely a Hall of Famer.
Thank you.
And so is Yadier Molina
Thank you.
when he retires.
I mean, I'm looking at this list.
I'm glad you
man.
agree on Jorge.
I don't
I
think-
obviously am a little biased towards Pettit, but I don't know how.
No, I got you. But I mean, meanwhile, we're talking about Jeff Kent, right? All these
it's a
accolades, right?
no-brainer.
No. But then you look at Scott Rowland. Scott Rowland, don't get me wrong, great player in Philly, great player.
We hate him.
Great player for the Cardinals. You hate him because he left and went to the Cardinals?
Yes.
Yeah, well, let's be honest.
Philly hates Scott Rowland.
Hey,
What number vote is that for him?
This
what round
dude,
is-
it was in his fourth year.
Does
He's
he-
at 52.9%. And this is how he ranks against the 14 third baseman in the Hall of Fame. There's only 14, okay?
He's gonna make it.
11th in average, 6th in home runs, 7th in RBIs, 11th in hits, 4th in slugging. The only difference between him and Jeff Kent is Scott Rowland had 7 All-Star Game appearances, and he won 8 Gold Gloves. But he never finished higher than 4th in the MVP. Meanwhile, Jeff Kent won one in the same league that Scott Rowland was in. But you're telling me that Scott Rowland 52.9, Jeff Kent 32. That's ridiculous.
Don't make
It
sense.
just seems
It's
so
absolutely
so
ridiculous.
political.
And honestly, I don't understand it. Like I really don't. Yeah. So anybody got anything else to add about the Hall of Fame before we move on to DH?
I want to hear why Schofield doesn't think there should be a designated hitter.
All right, let's move on to DH.
I don't think we need to make this topic long. Like I said, my baseball ideals come from my grandfather. So I think having pitchers hit is one, you go down to the basics. They're baseball players at the end of the day. They are baseball players. But two, I think having pitchers hit, it brings some of the most exciting moments that a DH, sure, you're going to get more bang, more statistics, etc. But when Joe Blanton hits a home run in the World Series, and it's like, wow, that just happened. And it's different. It's a different spark. It's a different event that occurs.
But didn't you just say a couple minutes ago that baseball is dying?
I said,
there's no
I
excitement.
said, I'm
Were you
back-
hearing that? I don't know.
and I'm saying I'm back and forth on the topics, and I can only go off my experiences. I personally love the fact that pitchers hit. I think when they hit well, when those moments come up, they're big moments. And by the way, I predicted that Joe Blanton home run. Don't know why I did.
Did you know?
I swear to God on everything.
What's your opinion on this, Dan?
I think there's just too many DHs out there that's capable of coming out and changing the momentum of a game. Pitchers pitch the game. I think it's like a field goal kicker. Kick field goals, be proficient at it. I think a pitcher, you know what? Hey man, we're gonna cover you in the field. We have the gloves. You pitch the ball down the heart of the plate. Let us defend you, and you don't have to worry about coming out here and bat. You don't have to worry about here coming out taking a fastball to the left side of your back for unnecessary reasons just to get you out of the game. I think I don't know all the DHs out there, but I think that there's some pretty good ones that there's no need for pitching to be batting out
Also,
there, pitchers to be batting.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Also,
You've been cutting me off all night, man. Sorry.
it adds.
I like it, Rob. I like it.
It adds strategy for the managers. It adds strategy to the game.
No, it does, because now you're talking about double switches. You're talking about replacing guys in a different order of the batting. Like if you have a pitcher coming up, you're going to put an outfielder in center to take that number 9 spot, because that would be the. I understand all the
scenario
strategy
like,
shit.
hey,
Look,
your pitcher has given up 3 hits through 7 innings, and he's due up to bat top to 8th.
Look,
right?
The
Do you
bottom
go
line
with your
is-
pitcher? Or you going to throw in the cold reliever? It's just the strategy. It's the moments it produces, and it's just also it's the idea of having a batter that doesn't play the field. Like,
But some guys don't need to play the field, man, to
Bro.
be prepared to go out on that plate, man.
But isn't hitting the most exciting part of the game?
to me personally, no.
What's the most exciting part to
For
you?
me, I love pitching. I love pitching.
Nah, man, I love when
And
that
you're
ball come
why
down
the
that
game
third
is
baseline.
dying. You are why the
I'm
game
not
is
saying
dying.
I'm not saying
need to
I'm
see
right.
hits.
No,
I'm speaking
I'll
my
tell you
ideals.
what. I'm all for a pitcher's duel, but I don't want to see a one way or one sided. Hey, this guy's shutting everybody down, and this guy already gave up 7 runs in the first inning. Like I want to see a pitcher's duel.
Yeah.
If it's not one, then I want to see a no hitter, or I want to see somebody go the distance, go 9. How many pitchers actually throw complete games anymore?
It's very
hardly
rare.
any.
It's only one.
So here's my thing. If you're looking at excitement, you want to put fans in the stands. Nobody wants to see Max Scherzer with a bat in his hand.
No.
Okay, nobody wants to see that. Okay,
Glove
nobody
and
wants
ball,
to
that's
see as much as Madison Bumgarner wants to hit. He's got a career average of 177. Nobody wants to see Mad Bum hit when the game's on the line.
He could
You know
start
what I
for
mean?
the Phillies.
Okay, if it's a 1-run game and you want to keep Baumgartner in the game, and you have runners on second and third with 2 outs, but he's throwing a 1-hitter and you want to keep him in the game, are you gonna let Baumgartner hit?
Great contradiction to my point.
177. No, I'm going to my bench. But if you had a DH, you wouldn't have to worry about that. That's my point.
That's a good point.
And Baumgartner is actually probably one of the top 3 full-time pitchers. That is, top 3 batter or hitters out of pitchers in the major leagues. And why I say full-time, because Shohei Ohtani's number 1, but he's not a full-time pitcher. You know what I mean? He plays the outfield, he DHs. I think that the DH was awesome this year. Nobody wants to see pitchers hit. Nobody wants to see pitchers hit. Now, the only time I want to see pitchers hit is like what you said. When you said they don't have to worry about taking that high inside fastball to the left shoulder, right shoulder. I think it makes it more exciting because I don't like the fact that relief pitchers don't hit, but they come in and face 2 batters and they get pissed off because somebody shows them up when they go yard on them and they bat flip and I'm going to hit the next guy in the head or I'm going to throw it to the next guy, hit him in the back. You wouldn't do that shit if you were hitting. You wouldn't do that shit if you were hitting.
Nope.
You would think twice about it. The only probably what's the dude's name that Hunter the dude that fought Bryce Harper a couple years back. Hunter Strickland. That dude, he didn't care. He didn't care if you were Bryce Harper, and he pieced up Bryce Harper. Let's not lie. That was pretty. And so, to be honest with you, I think Papelbon did too in the Phillies dugout. But he's neither here nor there. But I don't want to see pitchers.
Bryce Harper, a pretty boy, man.
Yeah, don't tell that. That's Katie's favorite player right there. She was heartbroken when he went to the Phillies from the Nats. So,
and it won the Major League World Series. Wow.
Without him.
Baseball, it's crazy sport.
Honestly, I don't want to see pitchers hit. I really don't. I don't think today's generation, if we want to save the game like you're talking about, I think we need DHs.
More hitting.
Yeah, I'm definitely
what
not
I mean?
saying my ideals are what's best for the game. I'm saying my ideals are my ideals.
And no, I understand it. But how many players right now are being limited because they're getting older? Their defense, it was either one non-existent to begin with, or it's declining over the years. But they can still rake. Nelson Cruz, he's limited right now to the American League and the American League only.
Yep.
The dude is raking, but are you going to pay Nelson Cruz money in the American League if you already have
What's his
a
name for the
suitable
Lions?
DH? The Lions.
The Lions.
The Tigers?
I mean, the Tigers.
Miguel Cabrera?
Cabrera.
Right.
First
but
base.
I mean, nobody wants to see Miguel Cabrera play first base anymore.
Yeah.
He can barely move, but
Barely.
the dude rakes.
He can swing
You know
that
what-
fucking bat.
You know what I mean? Like, you just cut off half of the teams. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand it, and I got it. The only reason that it happened is because the owners wanted this, and the players wanted this, and it's all again politics. It's all debate, and it's all about you got this, and we want this, and we're not going to give you this to you. I think it's all bullshit. Bottom line is, Major League Baseball owners, nobody wants to see pitchers hit. Just make the damn deal. Do whatever it takes. You want to make your money.
Let him take steroids.
No. maybe.
Absolutely.
But I mean, you want to make your money, and that's why you wanted expanded playoffs. You make your money in the regular season by having more fans, and you're not going to have more fans with your number 4 starter, hitting every 3 innings. Like, nobody wants to see that shit. So get rid of it. My opinion.
All right.
What you think?
Take steroids. Politics suck.
Take steroids. Politics suck.
That's it.
What you got? Anything?
I don't have nothing, man. I think we had a great episode, man. I think we just need to.
We can't talk about baseball no more. It's too political. I don't like it.
Yeah, man.
Fuck
I
politics.
it'll be
feel
different
drained right
names
now.
and all.
That's true.
Right now, I think it's just talking about this Hall of Fame. That's so disappointing.
It
man.
is.
Like,
It really is. Now that's not to
I
say
hate the
there's
free
still going to be
agency
an
on
induction ceremony next year, because if you remember, Jeter still got to go,
yep.
and Larry Walker still getting in, and there's somebody else. I can't remember who else.
I think it was like 4 players from last year.
It's Jeter, Walker, and I can't remember. But they're still having, because of COVID, they didn't have the ceremony last year. So this year, they're still having the ceremony. So that's good. And I'll tell you what, obviously, diehard Sox fan, if you don't like Derek Jeter as a person, as a player,
he got in
you're not a true baseball fan.
like 99.6,
The dude is like,
I think.
I mean,
Like,
Who's
hands
that
down.
one? Who's the one guy?
Yeah, who's the one asshole?
There was
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
guy voted against
Yeah.
their.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
but there was one guy that didn't vote for Griffey too, right? And like, that's asinine.
Wouldn't
Like,
you just love to
that's
know who
stupid.
the
Yeah,
they should publish their fate. Seriously.
Speaking of which, real quick, let's go back to that. There was 14 ballots turned in this year, blank. No votes.
They
As
should
far as I'm concerned, you should lose your fucking rights to vote. If
I
you want
agree.
to turn in a blank ballot, you want to have that honor, that privilege, you want to be a part of that association.
and you can't take the
turn
time
in
to
Nah,
consider
fine.
to put a
Fine.
person's name on there.
I
player's
don't
name.
even care if you have your I didn't do it because I think there's nothing but a bunch of PD. Well, whatever. Then vote for non-P write-in ballot. All right, vote for whoever you want. But I
Put
think
someone's
that's
name
asinine.
on there. Shit.
I really do.
Put somebody's name on there.
But hey, before we close out, Prince Embiid took down King LeBron the other night.
Hey,
Trust the progress.
Hey, MB jersey's on today because thus far in the season, he is the MVP.
Yeah, okay.
He is, man.
Thus
He is.
far in the season. It's early. It's early. 20
league?
games.
18 years. My man's
Yes.
racking up 30-plus minutes a
27,
game.
27, 12,
He's
2 blocks
not-
a
he
game.
can't
Hey,
be
the
MVP.
bottom line is when he was in the game and early in the game, we were up 14, and he came out of the game and all of a sudden it was a 4-point game. He goes back into the game, it's a 12-point game in our favor. He comes out of the game, it's a 6-point game. There's no doubt he makes the difference on a team right now. And honestly,
Well, he
like I
is the
told you,
team.
well, yeah,
Yeah,
but
he-
like I told you earlier, like you said a couple weeks ago, the offense runs through him while he's on the floor.
Yeah.
The offense, when he's off the floor, should not run through Ben Simmons. It should probably run through Tobias Harris.
Yes.
It really
It can't
should.
run through Harris because what Harris does, he's putting them shots. That's why they put the ball. Have you seen the other night, right?
Yeah, but his shots go
Simmons
in. Ben Simmons
was
don't.
this guy went out and B went out and Simmons was controlling the ball.
And
he was
shouldn't.
dominating the ball, and that's
Then-
how Harris got hot.
Then
You saying that, but
then
Harris
running
got
through
hot.
Shake Milton. No, I agree. Harris should stay. He should run the ball. He should run the offense when Embiid is not on the floor. That's what I just said.
What he's saying is he didn't get hot because of Simmons.
No,
He got hot because he's
Simmons
Harris.
had the ball. Look at the
Yeah.
why you think he had a triple double?
which is why Harris needs to keep the ball or run it through Shake Milton and not anybody but Ben Simmons.
Simmons
Ben
driving, dishing out.
Hey,
They get rid of Simmons to get a
Sixers-
piece.
We're
They're-
going to have
Sixers-
an NBA episode upcoming.
Sixers ownership, listen to me. Get rid of Ben Simmons. Get Beal somehow, please. Get Beal.
NBA probably mostly focused on the Sixers coming soon.
Oh my God, that's the problem. Right?
Anybody but the Lakers.
Also, catch us. We'll have a few more episodes next week, and then we will be having Super Bowl Sunday. We will be having a live
Going
stream,
live.
2 p.m. Eastern time. Right? 2
Yeah.
p.m. Eastern
Yeah, 2
time.
p.m.
We are going live at 2 p.m. right before Super Bowl Sunday. We're going to give you our preview. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a shootout. But we'll talk more about that then.
Pat Mahomes.
Hey, Amateur Hour Sports Talk. We out. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate the time, guys.
I don't even think it's going to be close.
I miss fans and stands.